Hi, I'm Jono. I'm a software developer and open source contributor. Here is my presentation, Open Source Software for the People by the People. Alright, what is meant by free? Gratis means free to use. You may remember shareware or freeware. That's gratis software. Libre means free to do with it what you want. You can copy it, you can study it, you can modify it, you can distribute it. So this isn't just free software, it gives you other freedoms as well. When you get an application, you get the blueprints, you get the source code. This makes the company and the product transparent. There's no secrets. It's like Coca-Cola giving out their secret recipe. That's why we call it open source. Um, Open source is everywhere. It powers your handheld devices, your iPod, your iPhone, your Android device. Those are powered by open source operating systems. One of them is Linux and one of them is FreeBSD. It's a mixture of closed source and open source, but be aware you are using open source software and your computers as well are using them. It also is the technology behind Facebook, YouTube, Google. Those are all using open source. Also, the protocols on the internet, those are all open source protocols, just the way computers communicate, open source. So you're using it all the time. Where does it come from? Sometimes a commercial company will open source their product. That's where Firefox came from. But mostly it's because someone has an itch to scratch. They want to do something that doesn't exist. An example is there's no software to keep track of scuba diving, so I'll make one. Here's a screenshot of some scuba diving software. Keeps track of your dives, where you did it. And you can make a website to share your code. Other people can see what you've done and they contribute new features. They can fix bugs. They can discuss it. Open source software is often high quality. There's people all over the world looking at it. And experts can come to it. You're not restricted by geographic boundaries, and it's accessible. So you make a website where anyone can just join a project. They don't have to be in your company. The projects have no dictators. It's usually a consensus-based decision model. If you don't like where a project is going, start an offshoot. You can just take your project and take it somewhere else. In fact, this has saved dying projects in the past. There used to be a product called StarOffice. It pretty much died. OpenOffice was an offshoot of it. And today, as of a year or two ago, we have LibreOffice, which is the newer version of it, and it is still alive and kicking. This is a great alternative to Word, by the way. There's a social aspect to coding. GitHub has 1 million plus users. People have their hands in a lot of projects. You can see what everyone's working on in their profile, and then it's easy to just hop on any project on there. Though money is not the motivating factor for most open source projects, there are ways to make money on it. Often support is sold instead of selling the product itself. Companies often sponsor open source projects like Google Chrome, which is a open source software by a commercial company. There's a lot of licenses that you can use when you license your software and that ensure different freedoms, but I'll talk about two of the most common ones. One is called the BSD license. It's a permissive license. It means you can, when you give your software, you can do anything you want with it. When you get the software, you can charge and claim you wrote it. You can use it in closed source software. You could take a piece of it and use it and sell it. But the goal is to prevent lawsuits and remove restrictions. That's why it's called the permissive license. Then you have the protective license. That means you have to give the source code. The GPL is a protective license. Derived works can only be distributed under the same license, and the goal is that it ensures that software and its derivatives will always be free. Most programmers have a license that they really like. Some won't even contribute to projects that aren't under licenses that they don't approve of. I use the GPL because I want to keep it free, and I believe we can have great technology without economic motivations. Commercial licenses protect companies and profits, but the GPL is the opposite. GPL really protects people and it protects freedom. The work GPL, your work is motivated by progress for all, not greed. It ensures that software is free and it benefits poor people, developing nations, a lot of positive things. Side note for other people interested in these type of licenses, you can license lots of other content under Creative Commons if you're interested in these different things. If you want to license your documents, videos, pictures, or whatever, there are equivalent licenses for non-software. If this open source stuff excites you, you can help. Use open source. There are alternatives to most software. Just Google it. You'll find that there's a lot. Using open source software shows you can take a stand against profit-motivated development. Another option is to use Linux. It replaces your operating system completely, like your Windows system, and it's totally built on open source. In the screenshot you can see I opened up the software manager and there's 2,000 items you can install. These are not programs to remove, these are programs to add straight from within the computer. That's totally awesome. And another thing you can do is contribute to a project. There's a lot of things you can do even if you don't program. They often need people to translate pieces of text, people to design the website, people to use the program and submit bug reports. Yeah, so that's open source software.